Welcome back to Gigged Out. Today we're diving into a contemporary issue that touches millions of lives around the world, the gig economy. My name is Emily, and we'll use a recent Chinese film, news reports, and sociological insights to look at this phenomenon. The film Upstream, released in 2024, tells the story of Gao, a middle-aged programmer whose world is turned upside down when he's abruptly laid off due to downsizing. At 45 years old, he finds he cannot land a job in the tech industry as companies are more into hiring younger professionals. Suddenly unemployed, he is facing his father's medical bills, his daughter's school fees, and trying to save their house from foreclosure. Gao is forced to take a job as a food delivery driver for Foodie.
The next clip includes strong language and a brief moment of physical aggression. While it's important to understand what happened, we want to be respectful for the listeners. If you prefer, feel free to jump ahead about 30 seconds.
所以你们要裁的人是我，对吧？是。你疯了！叫保安！他妈的，为了公司加班加点，前天熬夜，我工作10几年，我糖尿病都熬出来了。我现在熬不过孙奋斗，你们要撵我走！你们他妈还是人吗？你们这帮孙子王八蛋！你们是年龄歧视！我告诉你们，我和蔡朝忘了自己。
Gao's situation feels intensely personal, as he is an individual facing job loss, financial hardship, and the struggle to provide for his family. And indeed, sociologist C. Wright Mills defines the personal troubles of milieu as occurring within the character of the individual and within the range of his immediate relations with others. They are private matters, where cherished values feel threatened. Gao losing his job, his inability to find new work, and his struggle to make ends meet are clearly personal troubles for him and his family. However, Mills gives us a crucial tool to see beyond the individual. He argues that when many individuals experience the same trouble, it points to something larger, a public issue. He uses the example of unemployment to illustrate this. When, in a city of 100,000, only one man is unemployed, that is his personal trouble. But when in a nation of 50 million employees, 15 million men are unemployed, that is an issue. Mills states that in such a case, the very structure of opportunities has collapsed. This is where recent news connects directly. A 2024 article from the SCMP, South China Morning Post, highlights the growing army of gig workers in Guangzhou, noting that nearly 19% of the local workforce now works under flexible contracts, a figure higher than the national average. This isn't just about one person's bad luck finding a traditional job, it's a significant economic shift where a large segment of the population is moving into insecure work. The article notes that many of these gig workers face unstable jobs and long working hours, with the average delivery rider working around 62 hours per week. The Reuters article specifically about Upstream mentions the low wages, which is less than $1 per delivery, and long working hours depicted in the film. Upstream doesn't just show Gao's struggles. It depicts the experiences of his colleagues as well. We see Stingy, a fellow writer who is saving money desperately for his son's surgery. We learned that Big Black, the top writer in Foodie, is working intensely to pay off debt for a former partner who lost a limb in an accident. These aren't isolated personal misfortunes. They are examples of how systemic economic pressures are forcing individuals into demanding unstable work just to cover basic needs or unexpected crises. The film shows a character dealing with a personal trouble, but Mills' framework reveals it's a structural problem affecting many, many people, a sign that the structure of opportunities in the labor market is collapsing. The nature of this work is also demanding. The film shows Gao fumbling with routes and struggling to meet deadlines, which leads to bad reviews. The job involves perpetual pressure where every second counts and deductions are made for late deliveries. The Sheen Workers article provides another example of this intense pressure, where workers endure long labor hours and physically demanding tasks and are paid based on productivity. The Shein report even mentions average work weeks of 75 hours. Both the film and the news source highlights a reality where workers are pushed to extremes for pay that may not feel adequate, sometimes earning low amounts per task or facing unstable monthly incomes. This intense pressure and productivity focus can have a psychological effect. Mills discusses how individuals can become falsely conscious of their social positions. One can connect this idea to platform workers, suggesting that some might blame themselves for not making enough money or for not being able to leave factory work. Mills would argue that this self-blame is a form of false consciousness. The real issue isn't their individual failing, but the structure of the platform economy that demands these extreme productivity and physical labor, all for potentially low or unstable returns. They're exposed to exploitation by a system designed around metrics and speed, not necessarily valuing their human cost. While the system can be harsh, Upstream also shows moments of humanity and connection. Gao's colleagues like Yang, Big Black help him to find better routes. There is support among the group. This shows that even within a demanding and sometimes brutal structure, workers can build community. This connects to the Shein workers who are sharing their daily work experiences publicly through social media platforms like TikTok, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, and YouTube.
你给我的暖胃贴还挺好吃的，我就想问问你那个软件做的怎么样了？
我一直在做呢。
这个本子我画了3年，送给你。里面我标记了很多很难找的地方，都是我亲自跑出来的。希望对你的软件有帮助，也对我们骑手有帮助呢。
肯定有帮助。
以前啊，都怪我太自私了。
哎，我们从来不觉得你是自私的，从来没有。有了你这个小本本，我这个小程序就成了，就成了。
你能成的。
谢谢你，我借你一杯。这个更好。
The film's ending reflects the complexity of this issue. Gao does manage to save the house, a personal triumph after immense struggle. However, they move to a smaller house in a working-class neighborhood, suggesting the struggle leaves lasting impacts. And the film is ambiguous about whether he gets a tech job at Foodie, leaving his future employment status uncertain, mirroring the broader uncertainty faced by many in the current labor market. While one review notes the film's unmissable glorification of a kind of toxic work culture, it also provides a rare, honest look at the struggles of workers in modern China. It challenges us, the audience, to use the sociological imagination to see that Gao's very personal trouble is rooted in a much larger public issue about the organization of the economy and the changing nature of work. In conclusion, the story of Gao in Upstream, supported by the data and stories in recent news articles about gig workers in Guangzhou and Shein workers, provides a vivid illustration of C. Wright Mills' concepts. It shows how individual hardship is often a symptom of the precarity of the gig economy and shifts in the labor market. It also highlights how the intense demands of these systems can contribute to a false consciousness where systemic issues are internalized as personal failures. By applying the sociological imagination, we can understand that these are not just stories of individual struggle, but reflections of the larger social forces shaping contemporary life.
That is for today's episode. Thank you for listening, and hit that like button and subscribe for future videos.